Welcome to our session on Outlook Productivity Hacks today. I'm Jim Blair from Aberdean. Joining me from the Aberdean team are TJ Horner, producing this live event, and Kyle Harris, who will be moderating the questions you submit today. We have partnered with Nancy from Successful Organizing Solutions for our event. Nancy will be sharing Outlook hacks that can save you time. Nancy is a certified professional in both Microsoft Outlook and OneNote, and has operated her own consulting and training firm for the last 20 years, where she focuses on helping end users maximize their use of the Microsoft Office products to be more efficient and better organized. Nancy focuses on the user side of the technology, where we at Aberdean focus on the back end. So we're glad that she's willing to share her time today. Aberdean is an IT managed service provider that's been serving the greater Madison, Wisconsin region for over 16 years. We provide outsourced IT management and end-user support to small and mid-sized companies. Our team supports over 4,000 end users at over 140 companies. The majority of our clients are in the Madison area, but our clients actually have offices and staff that work in 17 states.
All right, thank you, Jim, for the opportunity to share Outlook productivity hacks with our audience. So today's session, I'm going to focus on Outlook desktop app for Windows 10. Most of the hacks that I'm going to share can also be done with Outlook on the web or the mobile app on Android or iDevices. But some of the steps just might be a bit different. Let's begin with, why should you care about being more productive? Statistics show that we spend 43% of our workday checking our email. And getting back on task and into the right frame of mind can take up to 23 minutes. This can create a lot of underutilized and wasted time throughout the day. So anything that we can do to shorten that underutilized and wasted time, a huge advantage. Most people, you only utilize just a few features in Outlook, such as using folders and performing searches. But Outlook is a powerful tool that can help you increase your productivity and stay focused. Today, I'm going to share with you 9 Outlook productivity hacks. So let's go ahead and get started with hack number 1. If you have a Gmail account, you're most likely familiar with seeing your email messages grouped together by subject. This is called Conversation View. In 2013, Microsoft added conversations to Outlook, but this feature may not have been automatically turned on by default like Gmail. Conversation View makes it easy to see the whole picture, the complete email thread grouped together by the subject, thus eliminating the need to hunt for those related messages. If you want to try conversations in Outlook, you will need to turn on the conversation view. Go to View in your menu bar. In the Messages group, click to add a check mark in front of Show as Conversation. Select the folder or folders that you want to apply conversation view to. If you only select this folder, then only the folder you're in, most likely your inbox, will show the conversations. If you select all mailboxes, you will see conversations in all folders in your email address Outlook mailbox. Note, you can turn this conversation view on and off at any time by repeating this process, going to View and either adding or removing the Show Conversation checkmark. When viewing your email, if you have received multiple messages with the same subject, you will see white or orange triangles to the left of your messages, depending on which version of Outlook you're using. Messages in your inbox or whichever folder has Conversation View turned on must be sorted by date or received column in order to see these triangles. Clicking on the triangle will expand the email conversation or message thread. Not only does this show you the messages in your inbox, but also messages located in other folders. As you can see here, one of the messages in this conversation is located in the Sent Items folder. Just this one conversation between me and Jim contains 8 messages, which are frankly cluttering up my inbox. But it can be time consuming to compare the messages and delete the duplicate or unnecessary messages. Outlook also has added a feature which will automatically delete redundant messages. This feature is currently not available in Gmail and is called Clean Up Conversations. To clean up your conversations, go to Home in your menu bar, and in the Delete group, click Clean Up. The pop-up menu shows you 3 options. The first one is clean up conversation. This will delete redundant messages from the current conversation. So looking back at the message I just had up there were 8 of them. I can go ahead and clean up, and any duplications in that would clean them up and reduce the number of messages. So for example, if I had 3 messages in my inbox and message 3 contained all the pieces and parts that were included in message 1, because I only need message 3, it contains everything. If there is anything different about message 2, say it includes an attachment, this would not be considered a redundant message and would not be deleted. So in this example, Outlook would only delete message 1. The second option, clean up folder. Outlook will review all the conversations in your current folder, most likely, again, your inbox, and delete the redundant messages from each conversation. This option saves you from having to clean up conversations one by one. I've also had clients, when they have clean up folder on their inbox, they have reduced the number of messages in their inbox by up to 50%. And with the third option, clean up folder and subfolders, Outlook will review all conversations in the current folder and the subfolders nested under that folder and delete all the redundant messages for you. So as a best practice, use clean up conversations to delete redundant messages before you read your new email.
Nancy, I find this one to be very helpful because fortunately or unfortunately, I get copied into a lot of email messages that have multiple responses from a variety of people. And it makes it really challenging when a person may be in and out of the office during the day.
Absolutely. And that's why I recommend, too, doing it before you read your messages, because, Jim, you're not always in your office. So when you do this clean up conversation or clean up the folder, before you even look at your messages, it just reduces the number you have to go through when you start processing your email. And why read more messages than you need to? Utilizing rules is another way to let Outlook do the work for you. Essentially, you are creating if-then statements, informing Outlook that if this condition is met, then complete this action. Creating rules saves you time. To create a rule, go to Home in your menu bar. In the Move group, click Rules. In the pop-up window, click Create a Rule. This opens the Create Rule window. As you can see here, there are only a few options available in this window. So where it says when I get email, it's from a certain person, contains a specific subject, or is sent to a specific person. And the do the following, the and then do this, is display a window alert, select a sound, play a sound, or move the item to a folder. That's not really a lot. So in order to see all the criteria available when creating a rule, go ahead and click on Advanced Options. This opens the Rules Wizard. And this is my personal preference when I create a rule, because it allows me to see all the criteria and the options available. There are 4 pages to the Rules Wizard. And the first page is where you're essentially telling Outlook what to go and look for. So for example, messages from a specific person or group of people. The second page, you tell Outlook, okay, now it found them. What do you want it to do with them? So I found messages from Jim. Where do I want to do with them? I want to move them to a folder for Aberdean. The third page, I tell Outlook, are there any exceptions to that rule? So maybe Jim marked a message high importance. So if a message has a high importance, I don't want it moved to that folder. I want it to stay in my inbox. And the last page gives you the opportunity to rename and review your rule. Make sure that there's a check mark in the box, turn on this rule, or otherwise the rule you just created won't run ever. And if you want to run the rule right now, you'll want to make sure that there's a check mark in the box, run this rule now, and then click Finish. So as a best practice for this hack, create your rules when you're reading the new messages. This is when you're performing the action on the message. such as moving to a specific folder or deleting the message. So why not let Outlook do the work for you right now?
Nancy, I think I have about 90 rules or more in my mailbox currently. One of the things I found helpful is, turning these on, and then it can actually route certain activities so I don't have to do it myself. So, for example, I get quite a few invoices because I'm a main point of contact for our business. I set up a rule to forward those to our bookkeeper, Eric. That way he gets information timely. He's not waiting for me to send it. And, basically he's current with that information when it comes in. One thing I found though with rules is, you periodically need to go back in and review them. And then if you do add staff or you have staff changes, you want to go through and make sure you update those processes if you have those going to specific people.
Right, absolutely. And one of the other things, there's kind of a buggy thing and a glitch in the rules that I've noticed every once in a while, that Microsoft will just automatically add stop processing rules. So if you ever do find that your rules are not running, go in and do manage rules and take a look and see if stop processing rule has been added to your rules. But creating rules definitely saves you time because you define the criteria once and then Outlook gets to perform the actions for you automatically in the future. Categories like conversations allow you to group like items together or pinpoint your next actions. To add a category to a message, go to Home in the menu bar, and in the Tags group, click Categorize. If you've never used categories before, you'll see the default list like this: blue, green, red, orange category. But you can modify this. Go ahead and click on All Categories, and this is where you can rename and create new categories. Here's an example of categories that you might want to consider creating: calls, client A, project B, reports that need to be done. And one thing to remember is that categories are available in all Outlook modules. Therefore, they can be applied not only to your email messages, but to your tasks, your calendar items, and your contacts. It's a great way to have information be similar through all the modules within Outlook. As a best practice, I recommend create categories to help you easily find project information or the next actions that you need to complete.
This is something I don't regularly use, but I know we have operations people at our company that do. And it's very helpful because, I can stop in and check with them to see if they have any questions that they need answers from me about. And, what these people do is they typically categorize these by the person that they need the question, to follow up with. And, so when I stop in to say, hey, do you have any questions that you need some help with? Basically, they might have 3 to 5 things that I can, respond to and address kind of immediately and not have to coordinate back through email. So I know it helps us because it helps other people at the company.
Right. And that's a great use of categories. I also find that with managers is if they create categories for each of the people they delegate to, then they are able to keep on top of what they need to follow up with each of their team members for too, because they're grouped together. Hack number 4, the Outlook search feature is powerful. If you haven't used it, you want to try it out. Rather than scrolling through your inbox or folder that you thought you filed the message in, search allows you to quickly find items and narrow your results. The newest Outlook desktop app has moved the search bar to the top of the Outlook window. If you haven't been in there recently or noticed that, it used to be right above your message list, but now it's all the way at the top of that window. And, it really functions pretty much the same, a little bit differently, but the results are the same. So when you click in the search box, you now get a drop down that pops up and it says, here's some suggested search options for you, some recently used actions you completed, and even some suggested actions. So you can scroll through the list and you can select one of those, or you can just type what you're searching for in the search box. Let's take a look at an example. So if I type Jan's email address, instead of scrolling through my inbox to find messages from Jan or containing Jan's email, Outlook is going to do this search for me. And it came back and it says you have 188 messages with Jan's email address in it. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not all about scrolling through 200 messages. It's better than what I probably had as my list, but it's still 200. So if I go ahead and I go back to the search bar and click on the little drop down arrow next to current mailbox, this opens the advanced search window. And as you can see, there are several options listed here. If I want to search for messages containing attachments and also Jan's email address, I can click the down arrow next to attachments, select the yes, and then go ahead and click search. It now narrowed my existing search from 188 to 50 messages, making it much easier for me to locate a message. I could also apply additional search criteria if I wanted to even narrow my search down further from the 50 items. Maybe there's a word, as you can see, the subject PowerPoint. Maybe I only want to look for messages containing the subject PowerPoint, and that might return maybe 10 or 5 email messages, making my life easier. So as a best practice, use the advanced search feature regularly to narrow your searches and quickly find messages.
You know, Nancy, I didn't know the advanced search feature actually existed until you showed me a few months back. It's pretty powerful. These products keep changing, and I wasn't a huge fan when they changed and relocated the search tool, within Outlook. But that's definitely very helpful in finding information, and I'm glad you shared that with me before.
So thanks for sharing, Jim. Hack number 5, search folders. Search folders are saved searches. So I just told you and walked you through kind of how to do a search and an advanced search. But if you find that you're searching for the same information over and over multiple times during the day or during the week, for example, messages from your manager or messages where the subject contains a specific project name, then Create Search Folders will save your search criteria and automate this process for you. Search folders are located at the bottom of your folder list on the left-hand side of the Outlook window. You may already see a couple of default search folders listed there. Some of my clients do, some of my clients don't. But typically they might see for follow-up, that would be any messages that are flagged, or unread messages, that would be any messages anywhere in your mailbox that you haven't marked as read. And to create a new search folder, you just go ahead and right-click on search folder and then click on search folder when it says new search folder, right, that pops up. And that opens the new search folder window. In this window, you can scroll through. There's criteria for reading mail, mail from specific people, organizing your mail, and find the criteria that you want. And it's really kind of walks you through what you need to fill in if you have to answer an additional question. Once you've done that and you select your criteria and click OK, the folder is going to show under your search folders. So let's go ahead and create a search folder. So I pulled up the new search folder, scroll down. I'm going to do mail with attachments. So I click on mail with attachments and I click OK. As you can see, under my search folders now, I have a folder named with attachments. And it shows me all of the folders within my mailbox. So it is searching folders, subfolders, everything in there that has an attachment. Also, anytime now that I receive a new message with an attachment, it will automatically show in this search folder as well. So I don't have to keep reperforming the search. They just pop in there. Similar to the search folder I have for Jim, any new messages that Jim sends me will automatically appear in the Jim folder. So I can just jump down there and look at all new messages specifically from Jim. So as a best practice, create search folders to stop repeating searches and save you time. Hack number 6. Do you have multiple email accounts or folders for an active project you reference frequently? Add those frequently referenced folders to your favorites, making it very easy for you to access. So where search folders were located below your mailbox, favorites are located above your mailbox folders. And if you don't see favorites above your email folders, then go to View in the menu bar, and in the Layout group, click Folder Pane. Add a check mark in front of Favorites, and then Favorites should be visible in your inbox. You can see here I have Project Day and Drafts in my favorites, but let's say I want to add my inbox. If I right-click on my inbox, and this list here, this menu is much longer than this, so you're going to have to scroll and find Add to Favorites. As soon as I click add to favorites, it's now going to show my inbox in favorites. So when the project is complete, so let's say project A, and I don't want it to show there anymore, I just right-click project A and choose remove from favorites. As a best practice, add folders to your favorites to give you quick access to those frequently used folders. And also review them and change them up. Like I just said, the project's over, get it out of favorites. Bring the new project up to favorites. Hack number 7. Quick Steps was added in Outlook in 2013 along with conversations. And in my experience, Quick Steps is one of the least used features in Outlook. Quick Steps are like rules, except they don't run automatically like the rules do. You get to choose when to perform the desired action. A quick step completes multiple steps with one click. Essentially, it's a macro. Quick steps can be found in the Home ribbon in the Quick Step group. To create or edit a quick step, you're going to go ahead and click on that little drop-down arrow in the Quick Step group, and it opens the Manage Quick Step window. To create a new quick step, go ahead and click New. Opens up the Edit the Quick Step, whether it's a new one or you're editing an existing one. Give your quick step a name, then choose an action that you would like to compose. Similar to other lists, there's a long laundry list here of actions that you can choose from. So let me show you an example. I decided to choose the action Move to Folder. It then popped up a menu that said, okay, what folder do you want to move these messages to? And I chose budget. So my actions are move to folder, what folder, budget folder, and I could even add another action. So maybe I want to say and mark the message as read or add this category to it. So I can add as many actions as I want. When I'm done adding all my actions, I just go ahead and click finish, and the quick step will now be added to the quick step group. So as you can see here, the quick step move to the budget folder is listed there, allowing me to quickly move messages from my inbox or actually any folder that I'm in to the budget folder with one click. So as a best practice, create quick steps to perform multiple steps with one click. Try it out. There are so many options available.
This is something that I actually didn't know existed. And I was actually on a phone call with our service manager for Microsoft, and she was saying she was going to use a quick step. I'm like, what is that? And basically, having a prepared message that she could send out as like a template. And I'm like, well, that's pretty interesting. So, I actually did find that to be pretty interesting. I actually do use OneNote, though, to create quick steps because I find that extremely helpful for what I try to do. So I can create, checklists in OneNote, which we're actually talking about this Thursday, and I can send those to an email, and I can fill that information out for like a checklist. But I do think that's a very helpful thing for a quick message that you want to have crafted for reply back to somebody.
Yeah, and create a quick step, and it allows you to quickly either file that message into a folder, or as you were talking about, create that template for an email message. With the email template in Quick Steps, it's only plain text. So if it's just simple words, it's absolutely awesome for that email template. Thanks, Jim. So hack number 8. Do you always delete messages from certain senders? You can mark them as junk and they will automatically go to your junk mail folder, which will remove this clutter from your inbox without you having to touch it. So to add a message to your junk folder, go to Home in the menu bar, click in the Delete group, and click Junk. This will pop up a window with multiple options. In this case, what we're going to do is just go ahead and click Block Sender, and that's going to move the current message and any future messages from that sender automatically to your junk mail folder. If you want to view the junk email options, click on in that drop down the junk email options, and you'll see that there's several types of options that you can view and modify from this menu. The first tab, the Options tab, shows you the default protection settings for received messages. You can choose which level of protection that you'd like. Sometimes, though, your company may have already set these as defaults on your behalf, and you might not be able to change them. The Safe Senders tab shows you those email addresses that you have marked as never block this sender. Every once in a while, I have somebody saying, didn't you get my email? And I'm like, no. And for some reason, they got added to, they're not on the Safe Senders list. They're not on the Block Senders list. So I go ahead and add them. I make sure that I always get their messages. The safe recipients shows you the list of domains that you marked as never block. So rather than a specific email address, you can actually put a domain in there. The blocked senders list shows the list of email addresses or domains that you blocked. So when you clicked block sender, they're going to get added to this list. And international tab, it allows you to block specific domain codes. If you find that you're receiving a lot of junk from, international codes or other countries' email domains that end in .ca or UK or EU, then you might want to go and to the international tab and block that top level domain. And you can also choose languages. I don't know about you, but every once in a great while I get the email and it's all in Chinese. So you can go in and you can block Chinese language emails, and they'll go straight to your junk mail folder for you. So as a best practice, mark unwanted messages as junk to block unwanted senders.
This is one of those areas where you can really help yourself quite a bit. You can save a lot of time by taking the time to do this. One of the things I regret, having been doing this for 16 plus years now, is all the various things I signed up for years ago thinking it was a great idea, and now I continually get messages. So in order to free up my mailbox or, basically have those messages go away, I do this to clean up my mailbox.
Right, that's a great idea. But don't forget that you want to review the messages in your junk folder regularly before you just dump it and delete it, because every once in a while a message gets trapped and it goes to your junk mail when you didn't intend it to go there. So just a reminder. Hack number 9. This last hack is by far has the biggest impact on increasing your productivity. Turn off your email notifications. Remember the statistics from the beginning of this session? Most of us routinely look at our email multiple times during the day without the distraction of new mail notifications. So turn off those notifications to stay focused. How do you turn off those message arrival notifications? You'll want to go to File in your menu. And when you click on File, it pops up another menu. Go down to the bottom and click Options. The Outlook option window pops up. By default, it's on General, so you'll want to go ahead and click on Mail. Scroll through the list. It's down about halfway on the page, and you'll find Message Arrival section. Remove all the check marks. And yes, I did say all of them. You won't miss them, I promise. And then go ahead and click OK. You will no longer receive the new message pop-ups at the bottom right of your screen. If this is the first time that you've ever seen the Outlook options window, I encourage you to spend some time, maybe not right away when you're turning off the notifications, but come back to it. Take a look around and review the multitude of options that are available for your mail and your calendar and your tasks and your searches. There's just a lot of great information on this Outlook options window. So as a best practice, turn off those email notifications to reduce distractions and keep you focused.
This is something that can be very helpful if you're giving a presentation and, face-to-face. You don't want to have something awkward or sensitive in nature pop up while you're giving a presentation.
Right, absolutely. And, if you don't experiment with any of the other 8 hacks that I've talked about today, this is the one that I encourage you to implement when the session is over if you haven't already toggled over there and turned it off. Managing email using the right tools and strategies. Each year, you can save 160 hours, or the equivalent of 20 workdays. I've only shared a few features available in Outlook to help you be more productive. There are so many more features that will help you increase your productivity and stay focused. So I hope you identified at least one hack that you want to implement. Here's some recommended actions for you. Write those 1 to 3 hacks down. Maybe it's all 9 of them, I'm not sure. Block the time on your calendar to focus on those hacks and act on those hacks. So hopefully you block the calendar within the next 24 to 48 hours. The sooner that you get started, the sooner you can start to maximize your productivity.
Again, just wanted to touch on the contact information. So Jim, who started this off and who was interacting with Nancy during the presentation, TJ, that's also been here doing the presentation and monitoring, and then myself, and then of course Nancy at the bottom there. So if you need to reach out to us for anything, please let us know. If you're not already following us on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, definitely check us out. We try and do at least a few updates each week. Thank you very much for attending this webinar this afternoon.